If someone told you that one day, the very person you looked down upon would be the one writing your future, would you believe it? No? Well, neither did the bank manager who made a poor old farmer wait 3 long hours, until the door opened, and everything changed. It was a hot afternoon, the kind that pressed down heavy on the skin and seemed to slow time itself. Inside the city's largest bank, people in suits bustled about, the clacking of polished shoes echoing across the marble floors. Among them sat an old man, wrinkled, hunched over slightly, wearing faded denim overalls and a straw hat clutched tightly in his hands. His boots were caked in dry mud. Every few minutes, he would clear his throat softly and glance toward the counter, but no one paid him much attention. His name was Walter Greenfield, a farmer who had spent nearly all his 75 years tending to the earth with calloused hands and a heart full of quiet pride. His wife, Martha, had passed 2 winters ago, and since then, it had just been him and the land. But now, the farm was in trouble. Rising costs, a bad harvest, and a sudden medical bill had pushed him toward the thing he dreaded most, asking for a loan. Walter had an appointment scheduled for 1 p.m. sharp with the branch manager, Angela Burke. It was now 2:30 p.m. He had been sitting there for an hour and a half, but each time he inquired, the young receptionist would offer him a tight smile and say, "Please wait, sir. Ms. Burke will see you soon." In truth, Angela had seen him through the glass walls of her office the moment he walked in. She had curled her lip in distaste. "Another waste of time," she muttered to her assistant. "Probably wants a handout. Look at those clothes, he can't even afford a belt." Angela had worked hard to climb the corporate ladder. She dressed immaculately, spoke crisply, and measured people's worth by their shoes and their handshake. Old farmers? She had no time for them. She preferred sleek businessmen with firm handshakes and fat portfolios. So she kept Walter waiting. And waiting. And waiting. By 3:15 p.m., Walter's hands had started trembling, not from anger but from fatigue. He hadn't eaten since early morning. He shifted in his seat, the straw hat slipping from his lap to the floor. His breathing grew shallow. Still, he waited. Finally, Angela opened her door with a flourish. "Mr. Green something," she called, barely glancing at him. "Follow me." Walter rose slowly, back aching, and shuffled into the office. Angela didn't offer him a seat, but he took one anyway, resting his hat on his lap once more. "So," Angela began briskly, tapping her manicured nails against her tablet, "you're here to request a loan? What collateral can you possibly offer?" Walter cleared his throat. "Well, ma'am, my land. It's been in my family for generations. It's good land. Rich soil. Angela cut him off with a laugh that dripped with disdain. "Good soil doesn't pay debts, Mr. Greenfield. This bank needs real security. Stocks, bonds, cash assets. Otherwise, we're wasting each other's time." Walter's heart sank. He had none of those things. Just his land, his memories, and a promise he had made to his late wife that he would never let it go. He fumbled in his pocket and produced a small, worn photograph, Martha in front of their farmhouse, smiling as the sun set behind her. "I just need a little help. I'll pay it back. I swear it on my Martha's grave." Angela barely glanced at the photo. She stood up, indicating their meeting was over. "I'm sorry, Mr. Greenfield. The bank has strict policies." Walter bowed his head, swallowed the lump in his throat, and rose to leave. His steps were slow, defeated. He reached the door. And that's when the heavy glass doors of the bank swung open with a loud bang. Heads turned. Conversations halted. In strode a tall, sharply dressed man in an expensive tailored suit, Mr. Harrison Cole, the chairman of the bank's board of directors. Angela's eyes widened. She immediately straightened her blazer, smoothed her hair, and rushed forward with a brilliant smile. Mr. Cole. What a surprise. Please, come to my office. Would you like some coffee? But Harrison brushed past her. His eyes were locked onto one figure. Walter Greenfield. Uncle Walt. Harrison cried, his voice warm and full of emotion. The entire bank froze. Angela blinked, confused. Uncle? Harrison crossed the floor in seconds, wrapping the frail old man in a hug so firm and genuine that Walter staggered back in surprise. I was worried sick. Harrison said. Why didn't you call me? You needed help? You should have come straight to me. Walter chuckled weakly. Didn't want to trouble you, boy. Knew you had your hands full running big city things. Tears filled Harrison's eyes. He turned to the stunned Angela. His voice, once warm, now turned cold as steel. Tell me, he demanded, how long did you leave my uncle sitting out here like a beggar? Angela stammered, face flushing crimson. I didn't know. You didn't care to know, Harrison snapped. His gaze swept across the bank lobby. You judged a man by his clothes, his boots. A man who once donated half his harvest to feed this town during a famine. A man who paid for scholarships for local kids when he barely had enough for himself. A man who happens to own the land this bank was built on. Gasps rippled through the staff. Customers stared wide-eyed. Angela shrank back, her confidence crumbling. Harrison turned back to Walter and gently placed a hand on his shoulder. Uncle Walt, as of today, consider any financial needs you have taken care of. In fact, he turned, his voice carrying through the lobby, this bank will set up a foundation in your name. The Walter Greenfield Fund. To help farmers, single mothers, anyone who just needs a hand to get back on their feet. Walter blinked rapidly, overcome with emotion. But I didn't ask for all that. You earned it, Harrison said simply. This world could use more hearts like yours. Angela, realizing her career was as good as over, muttered a choked apology. But it was too late. She watched, helpless, as Harrison led Walter out, arm in arm, the staff parting respectfully before them. Outside, the sun had dipped lower in the sky, casting everything in a golden glow. Walter looked up at the towering skyscrapers around him and smiled softly. For a moment, he thought he saw Martha standing across the street, smiling back at him. He tipped his hat to her memory, to the enduring belief that kindness, honesty, and humility would always win in the end. Never judge a person by the dirt on their boots or the wrinkles on their face. Sometimes, the ones you overlook are the ones who built the very world you live in. And sometimes, a simple act of respect can change everything.